Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. Of course, I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Emmanuel Oladele Abiola. Welcome on board this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Let's start with New Telegraph. I have the banner headline that says Iran war. IGP orders heightened security, surveillance nationwide. And if I can read some of the riders here, saying ex-president Ahmadinejad, 3 U.S. soldiers, 9 Israelis, many of those killed as Islamic State continues fighting. Basically, let's just talk about this now, because some Nigerians are saying it doesn't really concern us, why some are even protesting, especially with this whole, strike, concerning Iran, and of course, the U.S. and Israel, doing this to Iran. And of course, I think Iran is also doing quite a number of things that is affecting some other countries. Now, IGP is saying we need to tighten our security. Really, are we supposed to be that heightened? Or do you think it's necessary is it necessary for us to do this at this time?
Yes, we are putting, I really respect what the IGP is doing at this moment. He's putting enough measures in place. You are better prepared than not being prepared. So the thing with the Iran war is that Iran has proxy fighters.
Okay.
Now, what Iran is, if you notice Iran's retaliation, Iran has not retaliated against the United States, the land.
Okay.
But has been retaliating against interest of the United States. Those are two different things. Things that are of interest to United States, which affect them, but not their own soil. So now, in Nigeria, US already has an interest. The US has deployed some troops to Nigeria.
Okay.
US has some major interests, key factories and other things in Nigeria. Now, what Iran is doing is that Iran has in place proxy fighters. Proxy fighters in the sense that you will notice that Iran sometimes do not fight its wars, but here the Houthis, the
Hezbollah.
Thank you, Hezbollah. You hear the ISWAP, all these people fighting war for Iran. They are proxy fighters. So in Nigeria we have ISWAP, we have Boko Haram, we have also all other. Now they might be recruited by Iran to carry out their own aims and objectives against the United States in Nigeria. So you notice that this war goes a long way. This war is not really just between Iran and US or Israel. There are so many factors in place. So yes, it's a commendable one for the police force to put enough measures in place.
Okay, just before we conclude this Iran case now, don't you think, because I want to speak for some persons now, not just Nigerians alone, even Americans, especially Kamala Harris. She says something that Trump should not have done that to Iran. That is a violation of territorial integrity, really.
Yeah, let me say something about that's just politics. Okay. Why? Kamala Harris is a Democrat. Obama was a Democrat. When Obama started war on terror, nobody raised anything. Nobody raised any bat. Nobody batted an eye in his party. That is the Democrats. So when Kamala coming out now to condemn Trump, it's just to me, it's just politics. So. I wouldn't say Trump got it right 100%.
Okay.
But he did something that was decisive. They did something in June, July last year. Okay. Now they are doing something in complement of that.
Okay.
And if things like this are not put in place, you've heard of what is happening in Iran, how the Iran students are being killed, the protests are being curbed and all. Do you get? So you can't say violations of human rights should continue, and a country that can stop it should also remain dormant. No. So to me, it's just a cry that she's a
politics. Really?
Yeah, she's a crybaby.
Okay, still they're taking headlines from New Telegraph. Let's check this one that says ADC begins free online membership registration. Leadership not just about winning elections, and that's coming from Obi. Do you think ADC is starting a bit late? Because, I mean, they took some time to actually solve the whole, you can't come to our party, and now they are just, starting to open online registration. When APC, the party they want to kick out, come next year, I've gone far with all this, campaigning, they've got bosses and things like that. Do you think ADC is starting a little bit, too late?
Yeah, not too late, a bit late.
Okay.
However, I have someone who tells me that whenever you wake up is your morning. So I guess it's their morning, and now at the moment, what they are just trying to do is rally around, put things in place, put structure, follow principles, because now the Electoral Act has actually emphatically stated that any political party that does not have an online registry and a manual registry will not be able to field a candidate. So what they are trying to actually do now is compliance. However, yeah, it's late, but it's something they can still catch up on. You see APC already has an initiative, Renewed Hope Alliance and all.
City boy movement.
City boy movement, they have things. See,
but there's the village boy movement too. From the APC camp. I'm being serious right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the APC is far gone.
Okay.
But ADC can just try to catch up. And let's see, politics, sometimes you might think politics is predictable.
Okay.
Look at what happened in the last election. Peter Obi in LP came in with force or just a little, just remained so little for him to just overtake that race. However, we all knew that was not going to anyway. But all things being fair and equal, he would have. So that's something for you to consider that. Well, you might try that again. You might bring that comeback, but APC is far gone. And it's not too late. They still have some months. Okay,
you said, he would have won the election. But then most persons said that, most of the supporters of Peter Obi in that last election, they were voting online. They didn't even step out of their room to vote. Some of them were playing ball on that particular day.
I think I was in a polling unit that day, and actually, I won't use my polling unit to judge because it's just 1 out of like 1 million. Okay. But I saw a few turnout, and something about the youth in Nigeria is that you see at the NSAS period, we are more active online than doing. So, yeah, it's a funny thing that people voted online, but didn't actually go to the polling unit to vote. So,
all right. Okay, yeah. Still talking about the ADC coalition. Something happened last week. Some South-South, members actually confirmed Amechi. They're saying we're going to support Amechi. And at the end of the day, I think Atiku came out to say, no, don't even believe in that. So it looks like there's trouble within the ADC as we speak now, because if a region came out to support Amechi's bid for presidential election, and then some members of the ADC and their friends are coming out to say, don't mind that, don't mind the South people, don't mind them coming out to say we're going to support him. We've not even determined who is going to be the flag bearer of the party. Is there a war limit, for the ADC? Because Amechi now says something. He said, opposition, is really the problem of Nigeria, not APC or Tinubu.
You see, Amechi, anywhere he goes, trouble follows. So I think that was what Atiku was trying to stop. When he said, no, we are not going to field this guy. That's what Atiku was trying to stop. However, you see, Amechi, to me, honestly, I would not say he's not a qualified candidate. Okay. But at the moment, he doesn't have the force. He only has the force from the South-South. So the only thing the party can do is just negotiate with the South-South. And say, this is what we are bringing to the table. We will offer you this when we enter, when the race ends. So Amechi is not qualified. To me, he's not qualified. He doesn't have the northern support. To win a presidential election, you have to win the whole 3 zones. He only has the South-South. South-South is just a part of Southwest, in quotes. Sorry, the southern part of Nigeria. South-South is just a part. So if he only has a portion of a portion, it's still not good. So we need someone like Atiku who has portions in all the zones. So the only thing they can do is negotiation and coalition with him and negotiate with him.
What about VP slot? You think he's going to take it?
Obi is there. Atiku is there.
Obi said he's not going to become VP to anyone.
That's what I'm saying. Obi is there. Obi wants to run as as for presidency. Okay. He indirectly he won't be able to pick Amechi for VP because they are the southern region. Notice that I said they are in 3 zones, so he won't likely be able to. So Atiku too can be VP. He can't. He has been it once. He has vied for presidency a lot of time, and he's not winning yet. So he wants to try his luck again. That is if he goes actually. Okay. But I don't see Amechi. Someone picking Amechi as VP. That might be a long shot. But Amechi as presidential candidate, don't see it.
You don't see it coming. Let's cross over to Daily Trust and check this headline that says, we may not be able to achieve 100% perfect election. That's coming from Amukweton. And I tried to read the story. I think I read about 2 headlines. And then he was trying to say that, okay, they've been able to do a test run with the FCT polls. And then he discovered that the major problem might not even be network, but logistics. he said at the time it's a particular ward in, I think, Kaba now. He said that they could not hear from the people over there, so they had to send some other persons, to ensure that they are safe, and then they could not hear from them, so they had to transmit the result the next day. So how do we tackle issues of logistics now, because this is a big election compared to the FCT?
Yeah, with the issue of logistics, they have enough time to put those things in place. Now, we have at least, let's say nothing, we have 6 months. I'm just assuming, which you have much more. If you have 6 months, it's enough planning for you to say, within 1 month, we are acquiring these stuff, these gadgets. Within the next 2 months, we are dispersing them, we are distributing them. Within the next 3 months, we are training staff on it. Within the next 4 months, we are putting things in place. It's just planning to me. I see it as an excuse to not be efficient. However, I get his concern too. Their INEC of today might not be 100% ready for 100% real-time transmission of election results. However, like he said, this was a test run. A test run does not mean the outcome will be like this. A test run is for you to see what's happening, which areas are you lacking in, and what can you develop on. So they've seen some issues. Actually, I will commend them on the electronic votes and how they're progressing on that aspect. Good one on them. But they can do better, and they know they can do better, and they have enough resources, they have time. So a lot of things are in place for them to do better. Okay,
so he also said that no one would have thought that a place like Abuja, network will not work in certain places. So if something like that can happen in Abuja, what then can we say about those core, those interior parts, let's say Ibadan now, or maybe Oyo? How do we tackle that? Because he now said that is the reason why the Senate decided to pass both electronic and manual. It's like a proviso, so if one should fail, they can easily go back to the next.
Yeah, at this stage, I understand the two provisos, the manual and electronic. However, there's something satellite cannot be, transmission of election through satellite cannot be a very big issue. Nigeria, I should believe that Nigeria has satellites in the space enough for us to do some things. And if normal network connections can't go through, satellite connections can go through. So your devices are to be linked with the satellite. You can go to a deep bush, a deep forest. Satellite will still access you. So for me, that's one of the solutions to bring to the table. So yeah, some areas are bad, networks are bad in some areas, we understand that. However, if we can't get 100%, let's get 90%. Yeah,
okay, so I think it's a fine place to leave that. We'll revisit that conversation after the general elections. Because he has said to us that we should not expect 100%, but at least we should expect 90. Like 90. I was even going to say 80.
80 is too low.
Okay, 90. No problem. Still taking headlines from Daily Trust. Let's check this one that says banditry, over 300,000 displaced in Niger. That's coming from Bago. Terrorists kill 15 in fresh attacks. I don't know if you've watched a particular video. A certain military man said that, yes, the terrorists, the bandits, they are doing a lot, but then they are still our brothers. And of course, if there's a window to rehabilitate them, we really should take it. What do you make of that in connection to these, high numbers, 300,000 in Niger alone? There's Benue, there's Kwara. Look at these places, and then we keep having, much more numbers, every day. It's alarming, really. Yeah,
it is. And talk of they are our brothers. No, they are not. Your brother will not hurt you. The Bible says, do unto your neighbor as you would want them to do to you. So if a person is killing his neighbor, you can't call him your brother. In fact, it's a big infatuation on the part of whoever made that video.
Okay.
However, the way personally, I have a measure of curbing and bringing enough sanction on these guys, but it's not something I can help publicly. It might be a bit out of touch. But what I would say is that the video is out of place totally. And you imagine, that's just a part. 3,000 plus people are displaced. That's just a part of the larger picture. So you can't say what they're doing is right, or even if you say it's not right, but you can't say there's something to hope for to be rehabilitated. I be sure that there was a time when I think Yaradua regime or Jonathan regime, that some bandits were granted amnesty or something, and then they were let go, sent abroad to study. Personally, I believe that most of them are back in it, because they can't be thriving this much if they've not strategized enough. So one of the things terrorists do is that when they travel abroad, they get more radicalized and they get educated, so they get strategic. So You might think, oh, we rehabilitated them, we sent them abroad for studies, but who did they meet abroad? The jihadist network is so large that it's beyond a nation, it's beyond a continent. So them saying that we should not, these people still perpetrating the evil, we should not rehabilitate them. I don't see it as the viable option at all. In fact, if you are doing that, you are encouraging others to continue because there's a solution for you when you are done. So it's a bad one.
Okay, let's also talk about, someone even mentioned this, and then I think it's something to really discuss that before you actually take up to 3 or 5 million into your account, you must do certain things like Face ID and things like that. So these bandits, they receive millions of naira, sometimes even billions. So how is it so difficult to use certain information to track these people? Is it still because they are our brothers?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, that is very... okay, I was reading something on Twitter this morning. It said that NIA, Nigerian Intelligence Agency, is very active. You know, US has CIA, Israel's Mossad, Russia's FSB and the like. Nigeria, what does Nigeria, NIA? They say Nigeria is very effective, NIA is very active, they tap phones and all. But can they tap these terrorist phones? Can they track these terrorists? Someone replied, it's political, and I agree totally. It's political. Now, terrorists transfer funds through cryptocurrency, online payments, wallet, and all the likes. Now, you cannot tell me that they can be tracked. I've seen live examples, I've seen live scenarios where government have tracked crypto payments. You know, they tell you that blockchain is free, cannot be tracked. Right. I would say that's a lie to an extent. I've seen government track it. So any financial transaction, any form, even if you are not paying in cash or you are not paying in monetary form, any form of financial transaction can be tracked. So Nigeria deciding not to do shows a part of negligence and a part of contributory negligence. A time US came out at a point in time saying that this Kwankwaso or someone in the north was supporting terrorism. If a big stakeholder is doing that, you can't expect it to stop.
It was debunked actually.
Yeah, it was debunked, but I would want to say that the US has an image that they won't just publish a news that is unfounded and ungrounded. I want to be. It might not just be that maybe a bit of lies there, but they won't publish something of that of that size, magnitude, and just lie about it. No, so I believe there's a high measure of truth in what they've done, and if people like that are involved in it, I don't see any solution coming soon. So there will be war on banditry, war on terrorism, but it won't measure up a lot.
Okay, still talking about security now. Let's go to the Punch newspaper. I have this headline that says Tinubu convenes police council today to confirm Disu. I think that's something to talk about, and I think recently there's been discussions about state policing. It will help us at the end of the day. So how do you think we can achieve this now? Because some persons are saying at the end of the day, some state governors might not be able to pull this off if at the end of the day they pass the bill successfully for state policing.
State policing at the moment, I won't support state policing.
Why?
Because of control. However, I will support state policing because of money, resources. Okay. Because the only person funding the Nigerian police force is the federal government. So that means there's a limited resources for effective delivery of service. But if there are state policies all around, each state has control, which I don't like, and has enough resources to cater for it. Shey Makinde was responding to the federal government recently and saying that Amotekun will not be federalized. And I support that. However, why? I support that because we've seen Amotekun has been used almost effectively, even though maybe they can't attain 100% efficiency. But we've seen a bit that state control is not there yet, which might actually be on the long run. So bringing it back to the police force, state policing is a good thing, actually. It's a good initiative. But my concern is that some state agents, some state bodies, we manipulate this, take it into control. Look, for example, the northern part of Nigeria, we've seen some state agencies, state security agencies, apparatus, that are being controlled by the state itself and manipulated for its purpose. I won't want to mention names because North is very rigged with criticisms and all this. But look, if you take the North scenario and apply it to the other part of the state, I won't really support it. State is not controlling the police force, but we know what they are using them to do. We know what they are using them to perpetrate. So now talk less of them having legal backing to control. that would be a bad one for us.
But don't you think we should weigh our options? So if we can weigh the option, let's say that the merits, outweighs the demerits now, is this something that we can still achieve?
I still don't see it, because what more do you want the police to do that they are not doing?
But then the defense of some persons is to say that if you achieve state policing, these people, they understand the nooks and crannies of their environment compared to when you bring someone from Adamawa to your state.
No, that's not, for me, that's not logical. If you bring someone from Adamawa to the Nigerian police, let's say the one closer to us, a police station closer to us here, he won't come as a cadet, he won't come as a sergeant. Most of the time, they come as DPOs, high-ranking officers. So you have all these cadets, you have all these sergeants, you have all these corporal. They are the ones who know the nooks. They are the intelligence officers. Okay. So all these top brass, they don't. In fact, they sit in the office. Even though he's from Oyo State, he will sit in his office. He won't go out. So the real guys putting in the work, actually from here, even though not always from here, they actually know the nooks and crannies. Okay. For me, the solution I'll propose is that the NSCDC should be tapped. NSCDC is a dog lying there, doing nothing. No, not nothing, but not doing so much. NSCD wields arms. NSCDC is trained. NSCDC is trained enough to carry out intelligence operations. Okay. So, but they are not being used. The only place I've seen them being used in Oyo State, for example, is Operation Burst. You only see one person in a unit, or 1 to 5 persons in a unit, which is still not enough. So NSCDC is something that can be tapped, but we are not tapping it. I just imagine you are paying them salaries, you are training them, but you are not using them. NSCDC is just there doing nothing, while your police force is being overworked.
Okay, so now that Tinubu is said to formally confirm to Disu as the new IGP. What would be your advice to him now? Because, there's a new sheriff, coming into office now. What would be your advice to him? What are the things, what are the loopholes, that, were open in the last, I don't want to say regime now, that were open, and how can he close them?
Command. Yeah, the last command, I would, like I said, sometimes I can actually be an apologist for the police force, because most of the times it's not their fault. Look at them just yesterday, an attack was run against 3 forward bases of the military. And they said some terrorists were neutralized, while one major was killed, and no. You won't say they did anything wrong. They did their job. So when the police force is combating all these actions, all these crimes and all, personally, it's not the command, it's the government. If the government gives the command enough room to play its game, they will play their game. I was surprised to see the intelligence capability of the Nigerian police force at the time, and I was shocked that, so you can investigate matters in this way. Wow. So it's not about, yes, the command might bring initiatives. This was a fresh blood in the sense that he's coming in he's new to the post. So if we have initiative, if he doesn't have initiative, I'll be disappointed. So I hope that when he comes up with these initiatives, he will be able to project more and move further the war on crime and all. But like I said, it's not really the command, it's the government. If the government gives them enough room to play their game, they will.
Okay, so let's cross over to another issue. Now, I'm sure you must have seen the video as well. There was a report, a video, was circulating online yesterday that a particular chef, wanted to poison the president, and of course, Bayo Nonuga. He still died yesterday. Posted the video and then tweeted that do not believe in this fake news. No one tried to do that, and of course, the president is safe. But Nigerians are finding it difficult to believe that statement, especially because we've seen cases like that in the past where something was denied, and at the end of the day, it became the truth, really.
Yeah, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I would want to think there might be a bit of truth in that news. However, the presidency coming out to deny might also be a thing to consider. The way they denied it was very harsh. You will notice that they really came against it. They were saying, the government, the governor, the president is not at risk and all. Okay. But two things might be in place now to balance the whole situation. Okay. Two things might be in place. It might be the works of propagandists who are trying to just bring some level of discomfort, some level of distrust to the presidency. So it might be the opposition trying to play a game against the presidency, Why it might be so true that the presidency at this stage is running for another election. So he's scared of his own life, scared of his own ambition. So try to deny it. So that's why I said I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I see those two things in place. However, we don't have enough information to support one and deny the other. So it might be that some propagandists are trying to play some things to put distrust in the presidency, because if the presidency's own kitchen, if his kitchen is an issue, that means that says a lot about the whole of his own candidacy. So that might be a factor, but he also might also be protecting his interests, and it might not be true. So I won't want to say much about the situation actually. That's what I'm trying to
I think I understand you perfectly, and I think it's a fine place to leave it. At the end of the day, the presidency came out to say nothing like that happened. So let's just believe it didn't happen. And
exactly.
Then the most important thing is that the president and of course every other person, are also safe. A big thanks to you, Emmanuel Abiola Oladele, for being a part of this segment, and of course to the audience. Thank you so much. We need to take a short break, and when we resume, we move on to big story. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us.